You use language every day without thinking about it. You ask questions. You tell stories. You turn private thoughts into sounds that instantly travel from one mind to another. But the real answer is far stranger. Because for most of human history, language did not exist. Imagine waking up in a world where nobody can explain anything. No names, no sentences, no conversations around a fire, just sounds, gestures, expressions, and instinct. How would you warn someone about danger? How would you teach a child where food grows? How would you tell another person what happened yesterday? For a very long time, your ancestors lived exactly like that, and yet they survived. Not only did they survive, they spread across continents, hunted dangerous animals, raised families, and built social groups long before language became what it is today. So how was that possible? The answer begins millions of years ago. Long before modern humans existed, early human ancestors already lived in groups. They depended on one another. A lone individual was vulnerable, but a group could defend itself, find food, and protect its young. That created a problem. Cooperation requires communication. You need some way to share information. Many animals solve this with simple signals. A bird can warn others about a predator. A monkey can make a specific call when it sees danger. A wolf can communicate through posture and movement. Your ancestors likely did the same. They pointed, they stared, they changed facial expressions. They used body language that everyone in the group could understand. A raised arm might mean stop. A sudden movement might mean run. A specific sound might signal danger nearby. Simple messages could travel without words, but simple messages have limits. You can point at a tree. You can point at food. You can point at danger. But how do you describe something that is not here? How do you talk about tomorrow? How do you explain a memory? This challenge may have pushed human evolution in a completely new direction. Researchers such as Michael Tomasello have argued that humans became uniquely skilled at shared attention. Two people could focus on the same thing and understand that they were sharing that focus together. That sounds ordinary, but it is actually extraordinary. When you point at something, you are not just directing attention. You are creating a shared mental world. That ability may have laid the foundation for language itself. Then something remarkable happened. Human brains became larger. Social groups became more complex. Life required tracking friendships, alliances, conflicts, and relationships. According to anthropologist Dunbar, increasing social complexity may have created pressure for more advanced communication. In other words, the bigger the social world became, the more useful language became. A gesture was no longer enough. A sound was no longer enough. Something more powerful was needed. Many scientists believe language did not appear all at once. Instead, it evolved gradually. First came gestures, then vocal signals, then increasingly flexible combinations of sounds. Eventually, those sounds began carrying meaning in ways never seen before. A sound could represent an object, then an action, then an idea, then a memory, then a future plan. For the first time, information could travel beyond the present moment. That changed everything. Suddenly, knowledge could survive. One generation could teach the next. A successful hunting strategy no longer had to be rediscovered repeatedly. A useful tool design could spread through a group. Mistakes could become lessons. Experience could become culture. Language transformed human knowledge into something that could accumulate. That may be one reason human progress accelerated so dramatically. Archaeologist Steven Mithen has suggested that early human minds may have once contained separate mental systems that gradually became connected through advanced communication. Whether that exact idea is correct or not, something clearly changed. Human creativity exploded. Art appeared, symbols appeared, complex tools appeared. The archaeological record begins showing evidence of minds communicating in increasingly sophisticated ways. And then language unlocked another extraordinary ability: storytelling. A story is much more than entertainment. Stories allow you to experience events that never happened to you. You can learn from someone else's success. You can learn from someone else's failure. You can absorb information without facing the danger yourself. That is an incredible evolutionary advantage. A single story can transfer years of experience in just a few minutes. Today, that feels normal. But for ancient humans, it was revolutionary. Language also changed identity itself. Once people could share stories, they could share beliefs, they could create traditions, they could create myths, they could imagine groups larger than the people standing directly in front of them. That ability helped humans cooperate at scales few other species could achieve. Villages became possible, civilizations became possible, entire cultures became possible, all because thoughts could move from one brain to another with extraordinary precision. Yet there is a strange twist to this story. Even though language transformed human history, your brain still carries traces of the world that came before it. You still communicate with facial expressions. You still read body language instantly. You still understand emotions before words are spoken. In many situations, your ancient communication systems react faster than language itself. A smile, a stare, a fearful expression. You recognize them almost immediately. Those instincts are ancient, far older than writing, far older than civilization, possibly older than language itself. So what did ancient humans do before language existed? They relied on gestures, they relied on expressions, they relied on attention, cooperation, and social intelligence. They built the foundations before the building existed, and those foundations never disappeared. Because even now, every conversation you have rests on abilities that evolved long before the first sentence was ever spoken. The next time someone points at something, smiles, or silently communicates an idea without saying a word, you are seeing a tiny glimpse of humanity before language. A world that seems impossible today, yet a world your ancestors once called normal.